The phrase, the Africa we want, raises questions of an Africa wanted by whom, especially in a world full of greed and deceit. Nevertheless, what is it the Africa we want? The Africa we want is an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens. Welcome to the second episode of the Africa we want. Gamma Coffee is my name. Africa on Trial is the program. We have 3 panelists that are in studio today. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have 2 more panelists to make a round table of 5, but some technical difficulties. We have Oguso Obo Abimbola from Nigeria, who won't be with us in this second episode, but I'm looking forward to have him in our third episode of the Africa we want, as well as Andrew Chisale from Malawi. We are looking at the Africa we want, the second episode of the Africa we want. Gentlemen and a lady, welcome to the second episode of the Africa we want. Are we organized as Africans for the integrated, prosperous and peaceful Africa driven by us as citizens? I'll start with you, Chris.
Hi, fellow Africans. My name is Chris Sincere. I'm from Ghana. I'm glad to be part of this discussion. From my perspective, the simple answer is no, we are definitely not organized. However, we are perfectly organized for exploitation by our ex-colonials. And this has been going on since 1834-35, when the Berlin Conference decided to carve up Africa into different spheres of influence, made the property of mostly European empires. We have a long way to go to call ourselves organized, especially economically and politically. This is my preamble. Then, kind of drilling down a little bit, I can say we have certain structures in place where if we need to be serious, we need to wake up. It wouldn't be very difficult for us to organize ourselves. The AU is working very hard to have an African Free Trade Zone. We have got structures of different structures on the continent where we've been working in different blocks. We have got some form of organization, but we are a long way from being organized to work as an economic and political unit. That's what we've got to aim for. We've got to look to work as one block. Our regional organizations are good. They are a move in the right direction, and we should build on those to try and bring us together. But as Africans, we are not organized enough. We are definitely not organized enough. And until we realize Africa unity, we cannot say we are organized. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Pidio, welcome to the second episode of the Africa we want. Are we organized as Africans?
Thank you, Gamma Kofi, for hosting me once again on this show. I'm very grateful to be here once again. As usual on Africa Once More, with regards to if we are organized or disorganized as a continent. Gamma, even in as much as I would like to touch on that particular aspect of the question, the other side of the question, which looks at the advantage to those who colonized us and the disadvantage to those of us who are colonized, actually kept me thinking. In as much as I want to believe that yes, the colonization period comes with some hiccups that still derails our development as a continent, I will also want to put it this way, that we have over-depended on that notion, have left our guards unkept. But then I will come back to that aspect. Let us look at it from this context. Being organized or being disorganized, it's something that I always sit down to think about, analyze within myself. Now look at it from this aspect. On the 25th of May 1963, the heads of African countries came together to form an organization of African Union. Now, this union is supposed to keep us organized, to have a project, one mindset towards the development of Africa. Fast forward, we have the opportunity to be able to do this, but what did we? We left it unguarded, and here we are scattered, trying to develop individually, and still nothing is happening. So it is not as if we do not have the opportunity to keep ourselves organized, but probably the parochial interest of those who always come to power, so far as the continent is concerned, is one of the major reasons why we are not organized. Now, we always blame this colonization. In as much as I want to accept that colonization has played a vital role to where we are as a continent with regards to our underdevelopment. We should also know that we have played a major role to that effect. Now, when you take United States of America, for instance, USA was not what it used to be. You get it? USA at some point in time, colonies have been set on their shores. You remember Britain, Spain, France, and even the Netherlands own some of the northern parts of America. But these people were able to come together, organize themselves into a united force, which is the United States of America, bounce back, and are now one of the most powerful country in the world. So what are we talking about as a nation, that we are organized or disorganized? Are we the only people that have ever been colonized? There are other countries that have once been colonized. Now, even if you want to blame it on the colonization, don't we still have our resources? Our resources are still intact. What we need now is the leadership. A leader that stands on his toes and says that this is the way we want to go. This is our project. They turn their backs on the white. They turn their backs on the west. They don't look west or east. They look forward. If we are able to do that, then we can gain that state of being independent and being organized. But as it stands right now, we cannot be blaming it every time on colonization. Colonization happened so many years ago. So if we are still not able to bounce back from such effects, then I don't know what we are trying to tell the world. Of course, African is not organized, but for me, I will not blame it on the so-called colonization that has begun as we have bypassed that so many years ago. Our disorganization as a continent refers or bounce back to us, the people. And let's ignore the Western world. Yes, they play rules, but we play significant role to that effect. Thank you, Gamma.
Thank you so much, Pidio. And Pidio, you are saying that we are to be blamed since no one is stopping us from getting organized. And Chris said we are organized for exploitation. Halima, welcome. This is the first episode that you're joining us. I'm looking forward for us to have more conversation on African Trial. What is your take? Are we organized as Africans?
Thank you. My name is Halima. I'm very honored. Regarding if Africans are organized, I believe we are not organized because we don't even know who we are. To be organized, we need to know our past. The fact that African school syllabuses are still determined by the West says a lot about why we do not even know who we are. You can't move into the future smoothly without knowledge of yourself. So I believe for Africans to be organized and to have self-pride and worth, we need to teach about our past history. This will imbibe self-patriotism, and when suggestions towards building a better Africa is brought up, a majority will be in support because all will be thinking at a higher level. Sentimentality and greed will disappear like we won't believe, because now we are all thinking at a kind of unified way because we all want the same thing, a better Africa. But it is only possible when we know who we were, so that we can know that it's possible for us to be able to get back our former glory. So in my own opinion, I believe this is the best way to come across Africa being organized, teaching past history to imbibe patriotism and hence unity in our thought and building a better future for the generations to come. Thank you.
As Africans, are we designing the Africa we want as our own? Are we the architects of the Africa we want? I'll start with you, Chris.
Whether we are the architects of the Africa we want, it's a little bit of both. We are doing certain things and we are being manipulated by outsiders as well. It's a mixture of those. And I think because our economies are so small and we have been dominated by different powers and different influences, that kind of division underlies our inability to act in one. And even where people have got blocks, like Francophone countries, they are in a perfect situation to kind of stand up and say, so due to France, we're going to do our own thing. But for some reason, they are not able to do it. So basically, we have to look for African solutions to our problems. Until we get there, we are going to be forever manipulated. And again, until we are united, it's going to be very difficult for us to speak with one voice and act with one voice. And until we can act with one voice, we cannot say we are representing Africans. Because if we are acting with different voices, then, people will be manipulating us in all sorts of directions, which is what we've had, since the 19th century. We need to just change. We cannot behave the way we behave all the time and expect to have different results. And at the moment, the manipulation is too much. Unfortunately, the manipulation is happening with the collaboration of some of our leaders, which is very, very sad and unfortunate. So I think at the moment we are being manipulated way too much, and and we need to change it. We definitely need to move away from certain influences which are basically not for our interests. Those interests are here to further their own interests and their own agenda. Unfortunately, in large part, they are doing it with the collaboration of Africans. We need to be circumspect. We need to look at ourselves, look at the structures we want, and build on what we've got and try and move forward that way. Our help is definitely not coming from outside, and we've had over 400 years of so-called help from outside, and it's been pure exploitation. And it seems it's been too long for us to wake up. So I'm pleading with the youth: wake up. Don't look at us old boys too much. Just use the world. Has become a very small place, and there is definitely going to be interaction between different cultures, but we need to come to the table as equal partners, rather than being invited to the table always at the back, always as junior partners, or always even not as partners at all, but as people needing help, as beggars. We need to get away from that. We need to have some pride in ourselves. We need to wake up, say, no, we are Africans, we are capable. We got lots of examples of our capability, but now we are allowing ourselves to be exploited, usually by people who are not even as smart as we are. Our smartest people are being recruited and used against us, and we don't even see it. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Come on, let's try and take control of our lives and do something positive for ourselves. If you've been watching, if you are, somebody who is interested in Africa and you've been watching Africa for a while, it is a very, very difficult team to kind of cheer. It's almost like cheering a team that's always at the bottom. That's not a very enabling thing, It's very, very hard. So please, let's, wake up and say, come on, enough is enough. Let's move. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. PDO, are we the architects of the Africa we want?
Gamma, you see, we are all playing dual roles when it comes to the development of Africa, or probably what we are seeing Africa transform into. Okay, the whites are still trying their very best. This thing that we call neo-colonialism, where they try very hard not to appear in their physical form, but using an aspect of our mental faculty and then trying to touch on it to get to us. Yes, of course, they are trying their best, but trust me, African is becoming very knowledgeable. African is becoming much enlightened, and we are doing our very best to propagate the gospel according to the emancipation of our mindsets, that we no longer become slaves to them. But looking at the question that you asked, that if we are the architect of the Africa that we have, I would say yes, we ourselves have played significant roles so far as Africa is concerned in what it is becoming. Gamma, see, we are always saying that we are poor. But mind you, there was a point in time where we particularly chased the white man from our shores, told them that the African man or the black man is capable of manning his own affairs. We told them that we are capable, we can even do better than they do. You remember Kwame Nkrumah, Haile Selassie, and the rest. They all push us to this place that we are now. Now we've gotten the opportunity to man our own affairs. We have our own people at the echelons of leadership, put our trust in them with our resources for them to manage. And these are the things that we see: hunger, poverty, unemployment. How can we blame all these things on the Western world? Didn't we have the infantry to tell them not to interfere in our affairs if we realize that it is of no benefit to us? We have all the opportunities, we have all the rooms to do that, and we don't do it. So you see, leadership is becoming an issue so far as Africa is concerned. Yes, of course, even if they have a role to play in the kind of Africa we have now, we have allowed them to do that. If we guard ourselves from their interference, who can do better? So yes, they play roles, but we are also playing very significant roles to what we are seeing. The poverty we see on our shore is made by us. The unemployment is made by us. The health issues is made by us. Most of the issues that we see in Africa that characterize Africa as underdeveloped is made by us. Who embezzle the funds? Is it a white man? The corruption. Who engages in corruption? We engage in corruption. All right, we try to go with favoritism and nepotism patriotism. We get the right people who can do the job, but we try to push our people there. What kind of development do we expect? People who are not knowledgeable in the fields that they serve because we know them. We try to vote on ethnic backgrounds or probably our relationship with people. We are never professional as people. So the Africa we are seeing today, we the architects of such development. Let us not put the blame on any Western world or whatsoever it is. It's enough. We have done enough to them. Yes, they are there, but we have let our guard off, and then they penetrated and they are manipulating us. Our leaders should sit up. Africans should sit up and tell ourselves that enough is enough. This is what we want. We wouldn't succumb to the Western world, and we will be fine. But for now, we are the architects of what we are building so far as Africa is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Video. Are we the architects of the Africa we want? To you, Harima?
I don't think so. We are obviously not the architects of the Africa that we want. As we all know, Africans have the oldest civilization on earth. So it means that we have likely gone through so many stages of growth before we built the dynasties that were destroyed. We're flourishing in those dynasties and we're practicing monarchies, not democracy. Democracy is an alien style of ruling and it was introduced to us, and it only breeds poverty in the masses and greed in the upper class. And still, with the greed that they have, they just don't seem to get satisfied with what they get. It just keeps breeding greed, and even anybody that wants to go into democracy tends to only want to go into democracy because he wants to be like the top class. So we are getting more corrupt people and they cannot be satisfied with whatever they get, and they are so disconnected from the masses. They don't even know what is going on at the lower level. So it's totally not benefiting to Africans, and it was put on us. So we are not the architect. We all know that in the past, monarchical rule was what we were used to, and it gives the common man the direct access to the ruling king or queen, like we see in present day traditional settings. The monarchy is usually not unaware of the plight of the common man, and the sharing of riches are more equitable. Also, the way we are teaching our people in school setting is also not contributing to the development of the society, because we are not the architects of such system of teaching. Also, we're not practicing this monetary system. We're practicing the trade by barter system, which was also benefiting us, but now we have to depend on money, which is just a paper that was forced on us by another alien civilization. And this civilization actually determines how much money we're allowed to print, and also the value of our money is also, it depends on how they want it to be, whether it should be appreciate or depreciate according to a so-called system of inflation. So there's no way on earth that if we were the architects, we allow ourselves to continue being manipulated and cheated the way we are being cheated. So definitely we are not the architects of the Africa that we want, and we need to look into how we can solve that issue.
Thank you so much, Harima. Do we need help from others? Should we keep on begging as Africans? Should we consider whom to ask help from? Or should we look within ourselves as Africans for help? Harima.
Asking for help from outside, I still don't understand why and how it is that we're asking for help from the people who orchestrated the mess we're in. We need to learn to be self-sufficient and look for help within. Honestly, look at any coup or war you can think of. It always has the hand of the West in it. So does it make sense to ask help from them? The greatest brains in the West are Africans. Even presently now in America, we can see that so many Nigerians were elected in top official posts. So why are we looking for help as Africans when we have the brains? We just need to address our mindset first. We are so interested in looking at how the West looks. We just want tall buildings and everything looking computerized, that we forget it will be at the detriment of the natural beauty of the continent. No money can buy natural beauty. No money can fix forests if they are cut down. No money can fix back anything that we destroyed that was naturally there. We should look at the past and the present of what the West is doing. If you just, let yourself be abreast with the knowledge of their past and their present, of what they have been doing to the world, you will know that they are only after what will benefit them, not what will benefit you. They can never help you. So us looking to look like the West with their tall buildings and everything is not going to benefit us. Honestly, I think we really need to look into what will benefit us as Africans, what fits our own communities, our own settings, and stop looking at other places and thinking that is what we need. That is not what we need. And it is because of this that we ask for loans from the West. We don't need all that sparkly artificial lifestyle. It is not self-gratifying and it is not healthy. Don't we see that it's the West that has more cases of depression and suicide than anywhere on earth? Artificial living is not good for the soul. I really think we need to work on our patriotism and educating the African, the common man, who should know that we are whole the way we are and we should be satisfied with what we have. When we have that level of patriotism in our mindset, then we will not be so craving after all that artificial lifestyle. After all, it's from us that they got everything that they use to even build their societies. All the raw materials that they take from destabilized African countries, it shows that they are the ones who actually need us, not we needing them. So we need to understand this and we need to be satisfied with really the way we are. We are different. We should not try to be like them. We need to be satisfied with a simpler way of life. And so this would also help us to be at the table of determining what is best for us. We will be able to make more informed decisions on what is best for our continent and for the people. God bless Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Halima. Video.
Gama, I don't know if today I'm trying to sound more radical, but there is this question I want to ask. Ourselves and the Western world, who needs help from who? Africa is considered as one of the most richest continents on earth. So what kind of help exactly are we looking for? In my earlier submission, I spoke about embezzlement of funds, I spoke about corruptions, I spoke about employing the wrong people in offices, I spoke about nepotism and favoritism. These are the major things that are causing our retrogression so far as our development is concerned. We need help from no one. They need help from us. If there should be any relationship between us and the Western world or any other partner, it should be symbiotic. We give them what they don't have and we take what we don't have from them. But it is not in any way supposed to be a form of help. But here we are. The least we have to run to the world, the Western world. Africa is old enough. We need to stand on our toes. We need to fly our wings. We need to identify our problem and we need to find lasting solutions to them. We don't need help, but we go out with our bowls and our cups begging for crumbs from their table, and that is what I am against. The use of help. It is not what we are. We decided to be so. All right, Gamma. So let's not continue thinking that should we go for help. No, it is because we are lazy. It is because we are not focused. It is because we don't have priority. It is because we lack management. It is because favoritism is attached to the kind of people we elect to lead us as a continent. If we look focused, if we know what we want and we work towards it, then we will emerge as one of the most developed and, for that matter, most powerful continent on earth. If we continue the way we are going, then this will be our fate, and it will not change anything. We need to change the trend. Have all it takes. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, we look neither east nor west. Our journey is poised forward. But here we are, gathering crowns from people's teeth. For sure, this will be our life. We need to change it, Gamma. We need to change the trend. Our leaders need to set up. If I say our leaders, it's since I'm putting my pressure on them. We, the people of Africa, needs to change our trend. The leader is just a person. We are billions. We are millions. When we say we are changing, the leader has no option than to follow the trend. Let us change. When we start that now, Africa will progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, PD. Chris.
I take a line between Kwame Nkrumah and Nelson Mandela on this issue. Nkrumah says we don't look left, we don't look east or west, we look forward. And Nelson Mandela says we shouldn't be concerned with whether the cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice. And I take those two on board. I accept Nkrumah's view absolutely. Nelson Mandela's view is very pragmatic, and when you're looking for help, you look for where you get the help, but you go with business mind. And Nkrumah's view is a vision. He's saying, have a plan. Look what you want, before you go looking for, to have your own vision. You should know where you are going before you ask for help. And in terms of where the help comes from as well, I think we should always start with ourselves. The Africa continent is big. If we come together, that's the African Continental Free Trade Area becomes, it was launched last January. It becomes becomes fully operational, that'd be a great help, because that'd be a massive market that would kind of belie our development. And I'm hoping, yes, that will be the next round. Is the Africans in the diaspora. That's a vast resource. They've got a whole lot of expertise that's not readily available to the continent. So a large resource there that we can tap into. As the world is interactive, inevitably there are things that we need to go outside ourselves for. And also, even when it comes to trade, as much as it's great to trade with ourselves, it will also be good to get, tap into the world trade to increase our development. So yes, we should be very cautious of who we deal with, who we ask for help. And in a certain sense, I think this is just elementary. You have to be businesslike when you are doing business. You have to be businesslike. When these so-called helpers are coming in, they're coming to give us aids and all that, but they've calculated, they've done all the homework. They come in as business people, and they have the business plans in the little briefcases, and then we just go and we think these people are coming for the goodness of their heart and all that. But no, they're coming for the business of the development of their own country. They're coming to make money out of us, and they've been doing this for well over 400 years, and it's still going on, and we just keep behaving as if we are little children. We need to be told. And now come on, folks, we have to be cautious. We come to the table, we do our homework, we approach these people in a business way. We don't go as beggars, because whatever they are giving us, they won't give us if they don't get anything back. That's the thing. There's no free lunch, as it were. So when they come in, they're coming to get the full pound of flesh. They're not going to, and more if they can get away with it. And we've been letting them get away for too long. I think the diasporans, I hope, will have a kind of a discussion on the role of the diasporans and the development of Africa on its own, because I think it's a very big area, and I think it's something that we need to consider seriously. I don't think Africa can develop in a reasonable time without the diaspora. So that's my view. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Chris. Pidio, any comment on what Halima or Chris has said?
Yeah, Gamma, you see, by far, if I realize all my co-panelists are on the same page. Everyone seems to see things in a particular way, and when that happens, you realize that it is the fact on the ground, because the people speaking on your platform, are no small people. Auntie Harima just also spoke, and she touched on very significant things. Education is one of the major things she have been touching on since, and another part becomes the economy. These two things are very significant so far as the development of a society is concerned. She also looks at the kind of rulership that we were practicing at the time. If that is what Auntie Harima is saying, then I fully agree. But I don't think it is now time for us to move again from the formal education solely to the informal education. The informal education is still at play. And for the system of rulership, from monarchical rule to the democratic rule, in one way or the other, even us at the time that we were practicing monarchy, there was a level of democracy, and it's just that we don't know what it was, or there was no particular name given to it at that time. But we were not ignorant of democracy at the time. So I feel that democracy is not the major problem that we are facing as Africans, but the people that we appoint to be the rulers in our democratic world are the problem. Like Auntie Harima, you said earlier, see, we are full of greed. People don't go there because they want to help. They go there because they want to be seen as members of the elite group, and they want to amass wealth for themselves. So let us begin to realize that we are also part of what we are saying. Here, president gets corrupt, leave office, and nothing happens. So why are we trying to confuse the blame? Yes, they are part of what we are, but we are also playing significant roles towards what we are becoming. You see, I felt Christensia have been very soft on Africa, where he really wants to push the blame game again to the Western world. I'm not against that. When you listen to my earlier submission, you realize that I tailored the two as well. But see, this is a situation where even if the architecture or the plan has been designed already, it has been brought to us to orchestrate them, to make sure that we implement them. So about 70-80% of the blame has to go to us Africans before we go back to the Western world. What exactly is it that they have been doing to be able to quell us up? Chris was of the view that we shouldn't always, we should look at it from the fact that whenever they bring these ideas, we should know those that are not in our interest so we can run from them. Our leaders have sold us out, so they don't have any other option than to succumb succumb to whatsoever they bring to them. So they have to change. They have to change. They are the architect. The major architect of the Africa we are becoming is from them. There was a long time ago that we said that the African man is capable of managing his own affairs. That was the spirit that pushes away from them. That is why we sack them from our shore and we tell them that, hey, we are masters of our own future and destiny, and we were able to achieve that. Now, what again is it that they have against us? Because we went back to them that we want to take the crumbs from their under tables, and that is what we've been doing for decades. Sagama, we need to call a spade a spade. Let us not start with, yes, these people have been on our names for some time, and we need to let the world know that it's high time they back off from our shores. But in the same vein, we must also sit down. If you make yourself useless, someone will get you useless and attractive to him to exploit for his personal or parochial interest. That is what Africa has been doing and is still doing till date. So we need to change that perspective. We need to change that approach to how we man our own assets. If we do that, then we can develop a better plan. We can bring about new architectures, new designs for Africa. But so far, we hold 90-80% shares in the kind of building Africa is looking like. Let us not only push the blame. Yes, these people are powerful, but they become very powerful over us. We have given them power. Let's go take our powers back, and they dare not cross our shores anymore. We survive on what we do. Get solutions, African solutions to African problems, and my brother, we will be fine.
Thank you so much. And Halima, comment.
I would like to address the first statement of Mr. Kwame Pidio. He talked about the US being the strongest country despite being taken over by colonists. But have we forgotten that it is the colonizers who took the US from the so-called Red Indians that are still in the US now? And these people stole people from Africa to build the US to what it is. So saying that it is strongest country or better off despite being taken over by colonizers, of course, because the colonizers are the ones still there and they stole people to build it to what it is. Somebody else didn't come, and the present people are the ones that fought off those people. The present people there are the descendants of the colonizers who stole people and used their skill set. They stole engineers, doctors, skilled workers from Africa, used their skill set to build so many things in America. The fact that the ruling style of Africa is democracy means we are not the architect, and this was deliberately done. Changing our ruling style to an alien one, it was deliberately done so that nothing will work. Has he forgotten that any country who wants to change to another style of ruling is attacked, or they are accused of socialism? Look at Cuba, for instance. Look at the sanctions on their head just to make them be like an example to other people not to even try. But the funny thing is that socialism is even better than democracy because there is more equity in socialism, but they have succeeded in painting it bad. Also, we should not forget that these people are the main problem, not just our leaders. Our leaders are just trying to protect their neck, because most of the people, or should I say most of the leaders that dare to rise up and say that they are not going to take the narrative from the white get killed through coup or some abnormal way that they have so devised. Most of our leaders know this. They will not put it on the mainstream media because the mainstream media is also controlled by them. But due to education, a lot of ordinary people are now finding out. So we know that the narrative of history is being changed, because if we know the truth, definitely our mindset will change. That is why they tend to hide the truth a lot. We should know that's the greatest weapon, not fighting them. Knowledge is the greatest weapon against any oppressor. We should know that educating people, letting them know this. A lot of people have patriotism in their heart, and when people are patriotic, naturally we just want to develop our country. Look at Singapore and China, for instance. Was that spirit of patriotism that helped them develop so fast, even if it was through a coercive measure that it was done, but they obeyed the rules that were put in place that made them develop so fast. But I think in the case of Africans, we need more of an educational background. We need to educate people about what we were in the past. Telling people about the past is not living in the past. It's making them know that this is what we achieved in the past, so they know that yes, we can do it in the future. If this was what we did without the help of the white man, without any interference from them, then we can definitely do it in the future. This will naturally build patriotism in people, and people will say to hell with whatever is going to be. We must be better, we can be better, and we must get back our past glory. And this kind of spirit is what will give leaders the backbone to also change our narrative. A lot of them want, but they are afraid for their lives. We would think it's selfish. It's not that selfish, because if a lot lot of people do not know why you are doing what you are doing, then they can be, the media that knows how to lies can be able to convince people that you are a danger to them, and then we will turn into the Judases that will end up contributing to their demise. So educating people will help us reduce the potential for developing more Judases among us that would have killed the leaders who are going against the so-called narrative. Also, education will reduce greed, because when there is hope, honestly, greed disappears, because knowing your past and knowing it is possible will make us united. So self-sacrifice is naturally born, and greed will just suffer a natural death. It's just psychology. Once you are able to let people know that they are capable of achieving greatness, and you are able to give them that evidence, I'm telling you, people just develop that need, that want to be better, and greed naturally disappears, because they know that there is the possibility of a better future for the generation.
Thank you so much, Halima. And Chris.
Hi, Gamma. Basically, I have two comments to make, one for each speaker. First speaker is Pidio. I think I agree with a lot of what Pidio says. Our disagreement is more on emphasis than substance. And it's basically, most of our agreement is around the role, how much responsibility we accept for the situation we are in, how much colonialism and outside influence was the effect, whether we contributed more or the outsiders contributed more to our plight. I think that's the kind of area of disagreement. And while Peter thinks I am a little bit soft on Africans, he thinks we are more responsible for our plight than I give credit to. I probably accept that. I think we do have substantial responsibility for the plight we are in, but I think a bigger share goes to the international community, because structures have been set in place where Africans are forever being cheated. Even International Monetary Fund lending rates are different for African states than for the rich states, which doesn't really make sense. The states that need a break don't get a break. Those that don't need a break, they are the ones that get a break. And those kind of biases in the systems, the international system we are part of, creates a situation where we will never catch up. So that's the basis of my blame. Secondly, I go on Halima's presentation, and I quite agree with her as well. Hi Halima, I think your presentation is good. I disagree with you on the historical aspects, which, please forgive me if I got you wrong, but I get the feeling you were expressing some kind of nostalgic view of like claiming back what we were and going back to do things our way and all that type of thing. I don't think that's possible now. We are at a point of no return where technology dictates that to even feed our people, if we don't industrialize, we're not going to be able to produce enough food to the needs of our citizens. Industrialization and high tech should be the way forward, rather than going back to old means of production, which will not be efficient enough. That's my main area of contention with your arguments. Otherwise, I agree with most of what you said. Thank you.
And Halima.
When I listened to what Mr. Chris mentioned about the Berlin conference, I just knew we were on the same page, because he knows the origin of the problem and he knows when democracy was introduced to Africans. He also mentioned African unity, which I also did. So he knows unity is going to be gotten only by educating the populace, and this in turn will imbibe the patriotism, which I also was talking about. He also mentioned us being manipulated and the need for change, because we're currently practicing what is not paying us, and the reason is because Judases are helping the white, and these Judases are being pushed by greed and hopelessness. That is why education is the way out. When a lot of people are educated about the nitty-gritty details of the past and why we are where we are, believe you me, a lot of Judases will not be created. And he mentioned that we need to come to the table as equal partners with the West, but we should not forget that the West knows we are far bigger than them. That is why they put so many things in place to make sure we do not get out of this condition that we are in. The West is well aware that the raw materials and the brains are all from Africa. They know this. Most of the inventions that we're enjoying are all from black people. They know this. So they know that if we are on the same table with them, they'll have practically nothing nothing to offer. So that is why they went through all the trouble during that Berlin conference to carve out Africa and to give us this style of alien way of ruling, just to make sure we are unable to come out of this anytime soon. So us being on the same table with them, if we really want that, we need to convince them that we will be generous towards them despite what they have done, but they should be accepting of we are going to break free, which I really don't see them agreeing to, but we never know. All I know is that the most important thing right now is to educate the populace. When we educate the populace, most of our problems will be solved. Honestly, the most important thing to address is changing the syllabuses that are determined by the West. Let us determine our syllabuses and let us educate our people about African history. Let us educate our people of the nature of the white man and why we have to be very, very careful with him, so that we can break free of their clutches and not repeat the same mistake we did in the past. Thank you.
Period. Today's program, I'm giving you the honor of closing the conversation with your own remarks.
Wow. Gamma, see, Sensia has really nailed it when it comes to us looking at the areas we need to look for help. I don't think there is much I can say to that effect. And this time around, I really felt it. Sensia has been doing a great job. Yes, but you see, what he said is just the fact. And with the ideals that he brought on board pertaining to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and Nelson Mandela, they are very true. There are no free lunches anyway. So whenever we are going to engage these people, as they've done their homework, so much we do ours. We don't have to be at their beck and call. All right, we want to trade among ourselves. If they want to come and join us, they are allowed. But this time we need to shine our eyes. As blacks, we need to go hard on them. If it is not in our interest, then it is not a deal. For how long can they exploit us? We know better now. Our leaders need to set up. We need to carve our own path. That is the only way we can progress. And for the diasporans, Sensia really nailed it. And I think for his request that it should be a major topic that we should treat on this panel of African on Trial, I think it's a laudable one. When you remember very well, Mosiah Garvey, when he decided to become a Pan-Africanist, where he began to take his revolution, you realize that he went to the United States of America, where he tried to bring back the blacks that were in the diaspora, because he realized they have the potency in developing Africa. So they really have the kind of human resources that we are needing, or we are in need of, and they have the capital to help us to achieve the dreams that we need to achieve. But yes, for the fact that we need it's not a big deal. It should come, but we need to sit down and look at them. If they are not in our favor, it says no get or no give one. But if it is in our favor, then we open our arms widely for it. Yes, again, we don't need to consider the cat as black or white. So far it can get the job done by catching mouse. This is okay enough for us. Thank you very much, Gamma, for this program. I really enjoy it. And thank you, Saint Chris, for the deep inputs that you brought on board. Africa will be great. Africa must be great. We will make Africa great. Thank you very much once again. Bye-bye.
If I believe and you believe, Africa will be great. Thank you so much, Halima. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much, Video. The second episode of the Africa We Want. Gamma Coffee is my name. Africa on Trial is the program. See you in our third and last episode of the Africa We Want, and love you all. Bye bye. Thank you. See you next time.